Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Personal Power Circle Talks with Roxane, where we're going to spend some quality time here. I love quality time, where I'm going to speak my personal truth from the womb, heart, throat, rather from the mind, and share and explore the messy parts of personal growth. I'm Roxane, a creator, an Ayurveda practitioner, and Reiki master with over a decade of personal growth. Time to share my stories here. As you get to know me, I'm a deep person, an empath, love to reflect and contemplate about life. So in this series, we're going to cover about the chakra system, which is an Indian philosophy. And the chakra system really helped me to understand emotions on a better level. And once diving deeper in this system, I learned it's such a beautiful framework to get to know yourself even better. And today we're going to talk about the 7th chakra, the Crown Chakra, and also called Sahasrara. And briefly, let's talk about what chakra is. Like I mentioned before, it is an ancient Indian philosophy. And in these old texts, in the Vedas and Upanishads, they mentioned that we have energy channels, nadis, along our bodies, and energy centers. And chakra, the literal meaning is wheel. And we have 7 main chakras and 12 sub-chakras in our energy body. And chakras are vortexes of energy that reflects our needs, ways of communicating, ways of feeling and viewing the world. And we're all born, all chakras present, but they activate more fully at certain life stages. So it's also a nice framework with your life stages as well. So for this one, the Crown Chakra, the development stage is 14 and 21, and it activates around 20. And it's during the time we really reintegrate all the chakras while awakening to a higher guidance. And it could be that you could experience a trauma where you exposed spiritual truths before you were mature, like learning death too early. That can be example, and then that could lead to an unhealthy expression where you feel fear of life, limiting beliefs, avoidance of full engagement. So let's look at the anatomical location. So it's the head, and the body function is it governs our spiritual connection. And the body system is the brain, the entire nervous system. And the endocrine gland is the pineal gland. And the organ system is the immune and the lymph. And the element that is related is ethers, space. And the color is white or violet. And so the whole theme of the crown, it's really about spiritual enlightenment, interconnection. And let's focus on balanced emotions. So when it's balanced, you feel empowered, calm, valued. You live in the present, trusting of ourselves and the flow of life. Feel we are reflecting of the divine. Abandon the ego for a higher purpose. And when it's unbalanced, these emotions, you feel confused, fear, alienation, depression, rigid thoughts on religion and spirituality, black and white thinkers, unable to grow with flow. So, and to create this relationship with the crown, the first step is awareness. So one way of doing that is journaling, and it's very effective. So here are some journal questions to think about. So what life events shaped you between ages 14 to 21? How did your family approach spirituality or religion? Were you taught to surrender to something greater, or that everything must be solved by human control? Were there material attachments in your upbringing that may have limited spiritual openness? And reflect on the times that you felt isolated versus connected to bigger. And of course, I'm documenting my personal growth, and I'm using myself, Roxane, as the case study. So then you have sort of an idea, and I'm just speaking my personal truth, what's happened in my life stages. So these life stages focusing on like isolation and connected things. So at age 14, obviously, if you have listened to all the other chakras, yes, I moved different countries in my childhood. So at age 14, I moved back to Amsterdam, and I came in halfway during high school. And I did remember that was not the greatest experience. Challenging, so yes. And also, that was also around the time. And then at age 15, 15, 16, it was for me really a blur. That was also the moment that my parents got divorced. So that was also a big thing, that the way how I behaved or shaped. So it was really like, I was really numbing myself, not really expressing what's going on. So I did not feel connected at all. Or maybe I was too attached to being in the victim mode. But yeah, obviously at age 15, 16, you didn't have the tools, of course. Yeah, and then at that time, I learned this pattern of, just numbing myself, watching movies, TV shows, just being alone. That was my way of dealing it. And obviously the same theme of, this strong feeling when people copy me. I just had this limiting belief of, oh, stop copying me because it's not authentic and all that stuff. But I dig deeper. It's really a reflection of my insecurity. And now I am just letting it go that, if people are copying me, it's just a beautiful way that they are just, getting inspired by me. So it's interesting how these limiting beliefs, or how our mind creates these certain stories. And then let's see, at age 16, yes, difficult time with school. And this is really a big pattern that I'm actually working on to break. And it's really related to also self-confidence and connection, and yeah, standing in my own power. It was during that time that I had a challenge just to write, or I felt so insecure of, oh, I can't write, and all those limiting beliefs. And obviously my parents really wanted to help. So my mom helped me out with these homework assignments. And at that time, obviously, I just took this help. But if I think about it on a long run, it was really an unhealthy way of looking at it. which I created this unhealthy codependency with my mom. And it's again really the lack of trusting myself, and again, and also this emotion of shame came up. And I was also even hiding away from my friends, so already making myself small, and don't want to be seen. It's so fascinating that I can recognize this, and now I can change it because I have all the tools that I needed. And just also a way is just to express it speak my personal truth, which I'm doing it. Yeah, feels good to express it out. So now even today I am actually working on this pattern to build also a healthy relationship with my mom, but that will be another talk that I will talk about in a separate episode. Moving on, at age 18, yes, my first boyfriend that I had in high school, and we tried sex for the first time, and I remember so clearly that, to be honest, I did not enjoy it at all. I was not feeling any pleasure, and looking at it now and doing the work, at that time I was just really disassociating, or I was not really connected with my body at all. And obviously at that point I felt disappointed, and also doing the work for over a decade, there's also so many other layers of also certain taboos of sexuality, pleasure, and I'm still working on it. And it's unfortunate that I didn't express all these important topics to talk about sexuality, pleasure, but that's also another episode to discuss. Moving on, yes, and then at same age, at 18, there was also another blur moment. See how many? Yeah, that's my pattern. I noticed that I am just, if it's difficult or in a situation, I just blur things out, or I just disassociate, or my mind just don't remember. I also talked with my sister, and she has a different way, or everyone is different, of course, and she can just remember every detail of everything what's happened through her lifetime. And for me, no, it was also for me a nice project to go through all these life stages and just to remember. But it really helped with meditation and all these decades of personal growth. Anyway, so at that moment, we moved from. Oh yeah, that was the moment during actually the time that my parents got divorced. I was, you can say, the first depression state or something. And so then there was this moment that we decided that I move different high schools, just to change of scenery, and that helped a lot. But at the same time, what I learned something new, that my parents paid the last year fully, and I didn't know this. And from that specific memory, I felt really guilty, and also this whole thing of a burden, and the especially the thing that is really affecting me was, at that point, when I learned this new information, is that this whole belief of they were not telling me the truth, and that leads to lack of trust, like that they don't trust me at all. Yeah, I mean, this is how it is. I mean, everyone has their challenges in a family dynamic. And yeah, in my case, our family, we were not really an expressive family. There was no space to really express your personal truth or to talk about it. But luckily, now I'm doing the work, and it is really nourishing and fulfilling that I'm doing this and changing old patterns for myself to feel also more fully connected and have these deeper connections with the people that I love, Anyway, so moving on, at age 20, that was the year. So after high school, yeah, so that was the time that I took a gap year and did this and really pursue creativity and worked on my portfolio and explored different art mediums that I really enjoyed, and just building up my portfolio and building up my self-esteem and feeling confident again. And that really glowed up for myself to feel fully secure. And so that was really a nice, beautiful moment. And then at that time, at age 21, I applied for art schools. That was also really a challenge, of course, but because then you also experience rejection, all these general themes of a human being, which is part of life. And it was until eventually I got accepted to a creative school, design academy. And then in the first year, so age 21, that was another, I would say, maybe, you can, I can notice that I'm resisting it, but even saying it, that was really the moment that I had my spiritual awakening, or that I just started to open up more about accepting the whole spiritual aspect and asking even deeper questions again, like, who am I? Why am I here? There's so much more than this whole story of Roxane, of moving different countries, adoption, and all that stuff. There is so much more. And that was also the moment that I got in touch with meditation. I learned all these different terms, like highly sensitive people, and also experienced burnout. But the leading moment that I had this realization was during a performance class. Like, this teacher, it's just a way of expressing it. And at that moment, I did remember I was so done I was really done with working with the first year and the pressure of, passing the first year. And for performance class, obviously it was just a trigger of when I was a 4-year-old, when I had to just be a tree. And that caused also so much anxiety and stress and a sort of a trauma that, like, I don't want to be seen. So this whole association of performing and was not really a good mix. But then we had this subject of performing, and looking back, it's actually a good thing to perform, because then it's a way to express yourself. But I was so in resisting mode or survival mode that I didn't enjoy the class. It was just, I had to do it, and that triggered a lot of things. And especially once this teacher, we were like in a meditation circle, and then she was teaching us the Honopono from Hawaii, from I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. And after the meditation, it was really nice, and I felt really calm, and yeah, it was good. But then just the way how the performance teacher approached to me, like in a direct way, which we are good at as Dutch people, we're quite direct. In a way, it's also a good way if I think about it. But at that moment, it was painful because she was just saying maybe spiritual stuff that I wasn't really ready at that moment. But if I think about it, I see it as a blessing now, because otherwise I wouldn't wake up. She was just telling me, she didn't know about my background, about that I was adopted and all that stuff. And then she said to me, yes, during the meditation, I could feel that your mother's biological mother was present at the meditation. And for a 21-year-old, and also not knowing about that bit of adoption, it can be just a shock or in disbelief. And yeah, that was just a full first year, second year that I had, like, I was just really in the victim mode. And I had so much anger towards her. But now I've forgiven her, because it's actually a blessing that she woke up, or like triggered. Otherwise I wouldn't be here what I'm doing this now. So yeah, that was really a wake up call for me. And it's true, like painful things, that's when, you start to change, or just a reminder, like, who are you in truth? So yeah, that's me for the crown chakra. And now it is your turn to go over and journal about your life events that shaped you between ages 14 and 21. And how did your family approach spirituality or religion, which is really a taboo topic, or in my case? And were you taught to surrender to something greater, or that everything must be solved by human control? What were what were material attachment in your upbringing that may have limited spiritual openness? And also have a look at the theme of isolation and connected to oneness, and go over the emotions. And also invite you to have a look where the crown area, like look on the internet where it is. And obviously, as you know, it really helped me to bring clarity and bringing a lot of perspective. And I see this as like a self-therapy session with yourself. And writing it physically is also a game changer. And yeah, just make sure to be an observer and don't really be in the story and quickly fall into the victim mode, which is the easy way, or being avoidant. And obviously, once you're doing this work for a long time, you can see your own patterns and conditionings, and that's really cool, or like a win-win, because then at that moment, then you can really choose yourself to change your pattern and conditioning and create your own story. So yeah, this was the last chakra that I have been talking in depth. The next chakra is the higher chakras, and just to finish, just the age stages, which is 21 to above 57 or more and more. And yeah, just keep on doing, just keep on journaling and explore the patterns, and and just be your own detective, find your own patterns, and then take action, and do the work. And to link on a certain source, recently I've been listening to this episode from Tony Robbins from The Diary of a CEO, where Tony Robbins shared 3 skills for a person who's 18 to really focus on, to nourish the skills, because it's such a rapid world, a lot of things are changing, and just to bring your own value for yourself is the first one is really recognize your patterns. And like I said, like I've been talking about patterns, and an example is also just what he gives is really looking at the history, like, in the time with the hunter-gatherers, with the season, like when to plant the seeds and when to harvest, which is a pattern. And then the second skill is to utilize the pattern, like implement these patterns in your daily life. And then the third one is create your own patterns. And I find that this is really relatable, and you can see that with also, you can also split this seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter. And you can also really use that pattern in a way of the stages of life, just like with the chakra system that I've been talking about. And I see that also in Ayurveda, they are also really talking about the cycles of seasons, but also cycles of age, cycle of everything. So in Tony Robbins' perspective, spring is the ages from 0 to 21, which is really childhood, learning, and protection. So it's creation, you're protected, and your growth, you absorb all the learning. And then that's roughly how that is. And then in summer, it's about the age 22 to 42, which is really you're entering the young adulthood, and which is test and discover. Test what you've learned, decide what you will value, and time for a relationship, kids, and family. And that's the most difficult part. And then once fall comes, autumn, which is age 43 to 63. So that's the midlife, and that's the moment that you're really fully in your power, and the great harvest, where you are just, time of power. You can create impact, long relationship, taking charge, and you have a lot of experience with career-wise. And then once you step into winter, it's all about elderhood, leadership, mentoring people. And so that's really, I find it really fascinating that really seasons, or just recognize a certain pattern that really resonates and just stick to it and implement it in your life, and just stick to it. And then eventually you will see rewards like what you can see. So in this case, with the chakra system, or in my case, what I experienced, that you eventually can clearly see these patterns of yourself, your behaviors, and it's up to you to change it and take action to either change the pattern or learn from it. And now that I'm speaking a lot of to change patterns and conditioning, it's the first step is really awareness. So one way is really journaling. And once you're aware of the things, you can take action. And along the way, obviously, yes, there will be messy parts and stickiness and feeling uncomfortable, but that's where you grow. And at least you know why you're doing it, which is breaking old pattern and create new ones. I am honored to share Reiki and to serve people. Reiki has helped me a lot. It helped me to digest emotions in a healthy way, especially grief. And I am calling in 3 beautiful women who are ready to receive a Reiki session with me in person in Amsterdam. If you're called, you can book on my website, personalpowercircle.com. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.